Some called that era the Great Depression, but for others it became a great awakening. Picture New York, 1931. Dust hangs thick in the air. Lines of desperate men and women wrap around entire city blocks in search of work. Jazz clubs echo mournful melodies. America is suffocating. Her lungs are full of fear, and her heartbeat slows under the weight of poverty. Yet inside one small lecture room, something entirely different is unfolding. A barefoot dancer, penniless, with a soul bruised by rejection and a wallet emptied by bad fortune, quietly steps inside. The young man is Neville Goddard. He has no idea that within moments his life will change forever, not because of luck or money, but because of a sentence spoken by a stranger that will shatter every law of reality he had ever believed in. "You're 6 months late," says the dark-skinned man standing before him. Neville blinks, confused. "I beg your pardon," he asks awkwardly. The stranger looks directly at him, unblinking. "My brothers said you would come, but you arrived late. Still, you came precisely on time." This man was Abdullah, a black Ethiopian-Jewish rabbi, a man who, unapologetic about his heritage and utterly unconcerned with convention, would become one of the most influential spiritual teachers of the 20th century, revered across America during a time when black people faced global oppression. This man knew something nearly no one dared believe. He arrived calmly, unshaken, and began teaching that reality obeys the imagination of a disciplined soul. And on that day, he began to teach Neville this strange, almost forbidden knowledge, not forbidden because it was evil, but because it was overwhelmingly powerful, profoundly simple, and radically direct. This knowledge contradicted the sermons of clergymen, bypassed logic, and ignored the institutions that fed upon human fear. The technique was so daring, so pure, so surgically precise in its magic, that it could draw money from the void into one's palm through a single act, a decision. And it all began with a door. Not a metaphorical door, but an actual physical one. These were the words Abdullah gave to Neville: "Close the door and do not open it again." It was not poetry. It was instruction, a command, a mystical technology woven into the fabric of the material world to eliminate the gap between desire and manifestation. But let us step back. For 5 years, Neville followed this man. He studied ancient Hebrew by candlelight and explored the depths of the Kabbalah through long nights until dawn. But no lesson ever mattered more than this. When you decide that something is yours, you must slam the door on all doubt. So when Neville came to Abdullah saying, "Abdullah, I want to go to Barbados so badly," his teacher did not even blink. "You are already in Barbados, Neville," Abdullah would say, then close the door right in his face and in the face of Neville's doubts. And when Neville protested, "But Abdullah, I don't have a single dollar. How can I possibly get there?" A loud slam, the door shut again. Abdullah would simply walk away, sealing the conversation with the finality of that echoing sound. No debates, no bargaining. The matter was closed. Abdullah's teaching, rooted in the oldest spiritual traditions, declared plainly, "The instant you assume an experience in your mind, when you, Neville, decide that you will go home to Barbados, your only task is to stop doubting that you have already gone, that you are already there. In the moment you desire it, it becomes real in the unseen field, the field from which all intentions and prayers take shape before they manifest. Everything else becomes divine choreography. This is not kindness, not someone's generosity. This is fact, precision. the acknowledgement of your own power and your divine inheritance. Abdullah understood an uncompromising truth. Every second you doubt, every time you wonder how it might happen, every moment you peek behind the curtain of your own miracle, you unplug it from the socket of faith. Power dies the moment you try to prove it. The laser focus of your first passionate impulse, your intention, dissolves into thin fog under the weight of doubt and constant checking. You halt the star of your desire midway through its journey, and sometimes your anti-faith can even push away what was inches from your grasp. And now let us return to the late autumn of 1933. Neville is impoverished. The world crumbles. Breadlines grow. The faith of ordinary people evaporates. Yet in his mind, he is training himself to believe in the law and the promise. Walking the cold, hungry streets of New York, he walks the warm sands of Barbados. In his half-real visions, he sits at the Christmas table with his family. He sleeps not in his tiny rented room, but in a bed that belongs where? At home. He wants to believe this strange black mystic, but at times the visions become unbearable. Christmas approaches, and there is still no sign of the money needed for his journey. Neville seeks comfort from his teacher. Abdullah, I want to go home. I want to go to Barbados so badly. I visualize every day. I try not to think about my empty pockets. But what am I doing wrong? What else must I do? Abdullah listens silently. He looks into Neville's eyes with a sharpness that cuts through the dim room, and answers bluntly, "You are already in Barbados, and stop coming to me saying otherwise." For weeks, Neville continues walking through New York as though enveloped in tropical air. He hears the ocean, smells the salt, and each night before sleep, he boards an imagined ship, drifting into dreams filled with the scent of the walls of his childhood home. Every morning, doubts slip back into his mind, and the only support he has are the words of his teacher, echoing in his heart. "Close the door, Neville, and never open it again. You are already in Barbados." And then one day, in the middle of December, when hope had thinned into something like resignation, when Neville's diligent nightly visualizations felt less like spiritual practice and more like a personal challenge to Abdullah, as if he were trying to prove to his teacher that imagination alone could not possibly bring the desired event into the world, Neville suddenly receives a letter. The address on the envelope shocks him. It is from his brother. This brother had never written to Neville before and had never shown much interest in his affairs, despite being a prosperous man, unlike Neville, the struggling younger sibling. Yet the fact that a letter arrived was nothing compared to what was inside. "Dear Neville, I have long wanted to gather our entire family together. Christmas is the perfect occasion to do so. I am sending you a ticket for the ship to Barbados. Unfortunately, the first-class cabins were sold out, so I purchased a third-class ticket for you. I am also enclosing a check for $50. That should cover all your travel expenses. We await your arrival at home. Your brother." This is a moment every true practitioner eventually encounters. The moment when disciplined faith and persistence materialize the very thing your heart has been living in advance. The moment you have visited countless times in imagination suddenly appears in physical form. And once it arrives, it becomes a point of no return, a confirmation of the miracle you can never unsee. From that moment on, the Son of God recognizes his own nature. And from that moment, the manifestation of any desire becomes merely a matter of time. You no longer hope it will work. You simply anticipate how and when it will unfold. The next miracle in Neville's life did not take long. Overjoyed by his brother's unexpected generosity and the astonishing way his greatest desire had crystallized into reality, Neville rushes across the city to Abdullah. "Abdullah, Abdullah, I'm going to Barbados." He stands there, radiant with excitement, waiting for his teacher's approval. But Abdullah's face remains calm, untouched by surprise. Of course he is not astonished. He had never doubted for a moment that Neville was already in Barbados. Neville continues, "My brother said there were no first-class tickets left, so I'll be traveling third class." Abdullah cuts him off. "Nonsense, Neville. You will go first class." And with that, he slams the door. Neville decides to check the port just in case a first-class ticket becomes available. Occasionally, passengers cancel or exchange their bookings, he reasons. But at the ticket office, he is told that first-class seats have been sold out for a long time. Even if someone were to return a ticket, Neville would be placed on a waiting list, and several people are already ahead of him. Not expecting such luck a second time, Neville nevertheless leaves his address. Now his nightly visualizations shift. He imagines the broad sunlit deck, the spacious, elegant cabin, the refined company of first-class travelers aboard the New York-Barbados liner. In his dreams, he hears jazz drifting through polished lounges, converses with gentlemen and ladies, gazes upon the vast blue ocean from the high deck, savoring the luxury around him. Only a few days remain before the ship's departure when a telegram arrives from the ticket office. "You are in great luck, young man. A gentleman returned his first-class ticket. 2 people were ahead of you on the waiting list. 1 declined, and we could not reach the other. Congratulations, you will travel first class." Everything unfolded exactly as Abdullah had said, for it was the law that never fails to fulfill its promise. The law of assumption. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe in your heart that it is already done. And here, my friends, lies the entire secret. Not just visualization, not just feeling, but a 3-step combination that unlocks the encrypted code of wealth, opportunity, and freedom. Step 1, absolute declaration. You do not wish for money. You do not try to materialize wealth. You claim it without hesitation as something already yours. You do not say, "I wish I could take that beautiful trip." You do not say, "I'd love to wear expensive brands." You do not say, "How wonderful it would be to own a luxury car." You say, without a tremor in your voice, "I have $10,000 in my account right now." You say, "I have a phenomenal job. My salary is perfect. What I once only dreamed of earning is now already mine." You begin choosing the clothes you want to wear. You begin imagining where you will wear them. You walk through the streets of the cities you intend to visit. You choose liners, cruises, flights. You pick dishes from menus of exquisite restaurants. You select the car and even the accessories you will soon use while driving it. I cannot emphasize enough how crucial it is to declare your right and your possession with the same certainty as when you introduce yourself by name. With the same natural confidence you have when telling a friend your weekend plans. No hesitation, no question of worthiness, no question mark at all. Abdullah would say, "Remember this, a woman cannot be slightly pregnant. She either is or she is not. There is no, I hope it's really a child and not something else. No, she is either pregnant or she isn't. Likewise, you either decide that this reality belongs to you or you choose to live in doubt. And then you will be given more opportunities to doubt, to hope in vain, and to be disappointed. It either exists in your world and in your claiming imagination, or it does not. There are no half measures, and if it does not, then nothing will help. Not prayer, not effort, not pleading. Step 2, close the door behind you. Feel it. Walk to a real door, your bedroom door, office door, kitchen door. State your desire aloud as a completed fact. Then close the door firmly, turn away from it, and do not turn back. Close it as if, through that gesture, God Himself declared, "It is done." In that moment, you fuse the physical and the metaphysical. You send a signal to the subconscious. That reality is sealed. This one is open. This simple act is essential for a faith still forming. In ancient times, it would have been called a ritual or magical practice. Today, a neuroscientist would call it a kinesthetic anchor. Later, once you stand on your own metaphorical Barbados, you will no longer need such practices. But for now, this movement tells your mind. The discussion is over. The matter is settled. The page is turned. Step 3, calm expectation. This is where 99% of people destroy their miracles. They close the door, and then they open it again to check whether anything is happening. They dig up the fragile seed they planted. They keep poking the pregnant belly to make sure there's really a baby. They ask, "Where is my money already?" They search for signs, worry, and check the results every minute. But each glance, each test, each wave of anxiety is poison to that which is driven only by intention. You have already launched your rocket of desire. Only you control its flight, not some force up there. No one else decides whether the package will be delivered. How fast and how precisely your manifestation arrives depends entirely on the purity of your intention, which guides the package after you send it. When you doubt, invent scenarios, check constantly, or become upset, you are the one pulling levers that reroute the package to the wrong city, by the wrong path, in the wrong form, with a confused courier stumbling along. Those levers are your confidence or your uncertainty. You must also keep a vow of silence. Do not discuss your desire with anyone, not with friends, not with your spouse, not out of superstition, not because of envy or fear of the evil eye, but because a fragile miracle must be protected. You may share your desire only when your certainty becomes the certainty of Abdullah, absolute and unshakable. Until then, for your own sake, say nothing. Tend the seed. Nurture it in your emotional visualizations. Speak of it only with yourself. Water it with feelings, gratitude, and joyful anticipation. Dig the trench before the rain. Prepare the life that will bloom once the desire manifests. Choose the house you will buy, the crib for the child you wish to conceive, the swimsuit for the voyage you plan to take. But keep all this within your inner world until it arrives in the outer one. Abdullah never explained, never checked, never asked himself, "But when will it happen?" He simply was. He simply knew. He did not dissect methods or construct elaborate strategies for achieving results. He embodied the power of manifestation and the fulfillment of the law and the promise. He lived it. He breathed it. He accepted no other possible structure of reality. And through this unwavering certainty, he conveyed the purity of the kingdom. He understood the laws of the invisible. What you believe in your heart, meaning in the heavens, becomes yours in the world, upon the earth. And you know what? Even modern physics now agrees with what was given to us long ago in the sacred scriptures. This principle is known as the observer effect. Reality changes according to your perception, not metaphorically, but literally. Particles behave differently depending on whether they are observed and how they are observed. They materialize into form. The unseen becomes visible, but only when observed with intention. This is the door. This is the slam of a decision accepted fully. This is the declaration without appeal. You do not need to beg. You do not need to plead and hope. The universe always answers, yes. It cannot refuse. It obeys instantaneously, in the moment you place your order, and it continues obeying even when you doubt and cancel that order. Here is the secret no one speaks aloud. It is not about magic. It is about the finality of your order, the complete experience of its belonging to you, so absolute that half measures cannot exist. Neville Goddard did not become a millionaire through luck. He became a millionaire and one of the greatest teachers of all time by the power of his assumption, the force of his imagination. Not because his imagination was special or chosen, but because he finally understood what Abdullah had taught him. You do not receive what you want. You receive what you assume to be true in your heart. And now I ask you, what do you assume? Do you assume lack, struggle, delays in your desires' fulfillment? Or do you assume that the desired event has already happened, sealed, delivered straight into your mailbox? Let me be blunt. If you keep checking your account balance, worrying about timing, searching for validation, you have not failed, but you are hoping, you are pleading, you are doubting, you are scattering your power with every backward glance, every moment of distrust. Abdullah slammed the door not for theatrics, not because he lacked etiquette, but to seal that state within his great student. It was his contribution to a world-sized project called Neville Goddard. And you, right here, right now, must do the same. Not as a ritual, but as your new standard of being. Here is the truth with no detours or escape routes. If you do not slam the door on the old life, old thinking, old doubts, old limitations, that life will pull you back into the room of restriction. The essence of successful manifestation is not effort, not hard work, not perfect conditions. It is not your upbringing, your education, or your circumstances. It is the ability to close the door and lock it not with a key, but with unconditional decision and faith. For what is faith? Faith is not hope. Faith is loyalty, steadfast confidence in what cannot yet be seen by the body's eyes, but already exists in the unseen realm. Faith is the knowledge that the package is already shipped, even if the delivery status has not updated. When Neville stopped asking how, when he stopped talking about wanting to be in Barbados, and instead became the man who was already in Barbados, the world had no choice but to comply. Let this sink deep into you. The world has no choice, because the world does not happen to you. The world is projected by you. That is why you cannot keep turning around and reopening the door. Walk this earth as if it is already done, because truth exists only in the realm that matters most, the realm of your imagination. It is already yours. And if you understand this, you have grasped the deepest teaching Neville Goddard ever received. Imagination is God. It is not a tool, not a toy. It is the divine creative force flowing through you. When you imagine with conviction, you are not wishing. You are creating. You are declaring the only possible outcome. And all of heaven bends to your inner decree. So next time, fear, need, or doubt rises, do not collapse. Do not flee to social media. Do not call a friend to gossip your anxiety into existence. Stand up, walk to a door, Proclaim your desire aloud and from the heart, as a completed fact. Then close the door, not in anger, but with sovereign authority. Turn away and live. Live as though it already happened. Dress as the person who already has it. Speak with the voice of someone who possesses it all, and never again give voice to doubt. Why? Because in the moment you do, you reopen the door. You weaken the crystallization already forming. You signal to the subconscious that the matter is still open. But the subconscious does not understand maybe. It works only with, I am. I have decided. I am wealth. I am health. I am abundance. I am freedom. I am love. These are not affirmations. They are access codes to the reality already standing at your threshold. The door is a symbol, a line drawn in the sand between who you once were and who you have chosen to become. And you do not need to go back. You do not explain your faith. You do not justify it. You do not negotiate with the courier of your destiny. You do not settle for compromise or accept anything less. You choose and remain loyal to that choice because it is your only truth. Faith is the unwavering loyalty to your new self, even while the three-dimensional world mocks it. It is the absence of even a trace of doubt. Even when logic screams the opposite, hold firm. Your decision is not up for debate, no matter what storms pass between you and its fulfillment. Neville became a master of manifestation, not because he perfected the how, but because he stopped asking it. And you must do the same. If you have reached this point, you are not an ordinary person. You have been chosen to know the law, to remember what you were taught to forget. You are not here to suffer, hoping for mercy. You are here to create, proclaim, accept, command, and then to close the door without discussion. This is your today, not someday, not when the stars align. Stand before a door, any door, your bedroom door, a closet door, your front door. State your desire as a completed reality. Close it, firmly, decisively, irrevocably, and then go live. Live as the person who owns it. Live as the one who inhabits their dream in the physical world. Your home, your ideal work, your radiant health, your limitless wealth, your fulfilled love. And speak not a single word about the process. Do not disturb the young seed. Let it bloom in the sanctity of silence. And when it manifests, and it will, return here. Return to this very moment. Write in the comments, Abdullah was right. Let the world witness what divine imagination and faith can do. Let your story awaken someone else's courage. For your miracle is not only for you, it is for the thousands who watch, wait, and still wonder whether this works. You are already in Barbados. Close the door right now. Write in the comments, by the power of my intention, I close the door to the past. I already possess everything the Father has given me. Become the proof, for yourself, not for them. You are the one for whom this world turns. You are the one for whom all paths will reconfigure to deliver your order. Be your own evidence, and never again look back at old doors, for what lies ahead is far more extraordinary. Friends, if this knowledge resonates within you, give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Here we share the rarest pearls of wisdom from the greatest masters of thought, transformation, and positive life change from around the world. By returning to our videos every day, you leave your desires no chance not to manifest. Your success becomes inevitable. Click the bell icon to learn more about the secrets of visualization and the materialization of desires, secrets that were hidden for decades. And now, piece by piece, we gather them and pass them on to you here on Worldwide Miracles. You are no longer a passive observer of life. You are its architect, its composer, its breath. Your imagination is not a fantasy. It is the blueprint of creation. Your intention is not a wish. It is a decree. And every decree reshapes the fabric of the unseen. Look back at Neville's journey and understand. The world did not grant him miracles. It mirrored his inner state. When he claimed his desire as already fulfilled, the universe simply aligned with the claim. This law is impartial. It does not consider deserving or undeserving. It does not evaluate your past, your failures, your mistakes, or your credentials. It answers only to one thing, your assumption. If you assume lack, you will see lack. If you assume abundance, you will see abundance. If you assume delay, delay will shape itself around you. If you assume completion, completion will rise to meet you. This universe is obedient, not to suffering, not to struggle, but to the truth you declare. So when you stand before your door, any door, and proclaim your desire as a finished event, you are stepping into your rightful identity. You are remembering who you were before doubt crept in. You are becoming the master of the inner state and therefore the outer world. Do not reopen the door. Do not question the process. Do not invite old versions of yourself back into power. You are not the helpless dreamer. You are the one who commands mountains to move by belief alone. Let the three-dimensional world mock if it must. Let logic protest. Let reason argue. It always does, right before it yields. Because imagination precedes reality. Because assumption births form. Because the unseen shapes the seen. This is the inheritance you forgot. This is the law written into your soul. When you feel doubt creeping in, do not collapse into fear. Do not run to someone else to soothe it. Do not betray your seed by digging it up to check if it is growing. Stand firm. Remain loyal to your inner decree. Say to yourself, I do not hope, I do not wish, I decide. For the moment you decide, the waveforms of possibility collapse into one solid path, the path of your desire, and all of creation reorganizes itself around that single point of your belief. This is why Abdullah was so uncompromising. This is why he slammed the door, not to shock Neville, not to intimidate him, but to imprint into Neville's subconscious the finality of the assumption. When the door closes, the old reality ends, a new one begins, and the subconscious, the true servant of creation, obeys instantly. Remember this. The subconscious does not understand contradictions. It does not analyze. It does not evaluate. It follows the command sealed by feeling and assumption. I am. That is the code. That is the key. That is the governing force of every reality. So say it with the authority of one who remembers. I am wealth. I am health. I am love. I am abundance. I am freedom. Not I hope to be, not I want to be, not I will be, but I am. These words reshape worlds. They split oceans. They summon miracles. They close doors that should never be reopened. You are no longer the person begging life for crumbs. You are the one who writes the story, who sets the outcome, who commands the invisible into form. So choose now, and do not look back. You are already in Barbados. You are already living the life you once thought you had to earn. You are already the version of yourself that God envisioned when He breathed life into you. Now stand before the door. Declare your desire as completed. Close it, firmly, confidently, without hesitation. Turn away and live. Live as the one who already has it all, because you do. And when it manifests, and it will, remember this moment. Return to this teaching. Return to this truth. Write to the world, Abdullah was right, and let your story become a lantern for others still wandering in their doubts. Let your miracle become the spark that awakens thousands. Let your manifestation become the sign that reminds humanity of its divine power. The door is waiting. Close it behind you. Step into the life that has been yours all along. Welcome to your new reality. Welcome to worldwide miracles.